Hi, everyone. Scrubs from quarantine, straight from the quarantine. Well, not quarantine, but we're not.
Isolation.
This is the first time we're recording just not in the same room, and I don't like it.
Sorry. At least I can see you.
Right, but it's...
Yeah, I know. It is weird.
So we figured what we'll probably do throughout this is maybe give you guys episodes once a week just on what's going on with the COVID crisis here. And kind of update you. When we did the last episode, I was a non-believer. Let's just say that, right? I was a non-believer. I was, I was doing what I was told, but then we've been back to work since that episode, and that sobered me up a lot. Yeah. Walking into work is like walking into war. You feel like you're gearing up for battle the moment you go through the doors, and it's a very, very different environment in there. Yeah. And you could cut it with a knife. The
tension is the second you walk in the door. It's you have to have
it's on your shoulders.
Yeah, we have to have a pass to get in every day, and you have to put your symptoms down if you have any, and then they say, yeah, you're okay to work, and
you get to flash your badge, you get a mask, you get squirted down, you get like the Silkwood shower every time you come
in. It's just different. It's not like it used to be this hub of I don't know.
It's like a beehive. It's like a beehive when you go in there. It's just dead quiet. Yeah. And even people who I find very steady nurses, nervous. Yes. And they're freaking me out. Yeah. One girl was like, oh my God, she has to get out of here because she's stressing me out.
I know.
She's totally stressing me out. So one of our friends who, she's married, she isn't married. She's divorced with kids. She's dating a guy who is divorced with kids, and they are like inseparable, and they've made the decision to quarantine away from each other, or to stay away from each other throughout this. So he sent her this beautiful bouquet of flowers, and this, God bless, he's very, very sweet. He said the nicest things, which that would never happen in my home, because this is how my husband shows love. So my husband's job just recently went 1 week on, 1 week off.
Oh, good, they did.
Yeah, so he'll work next week, and then he has the week off. He's like, so, I know you want that front hall painted. If you want to pick up your paint chips, I'll paint it.
Nice.
So I don't get a bouquet of roses, but I'll take the painted front hall, because the roses will be dead in the week, and the front hall's going to last 8 months. 8 years, so I'm good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So, so it's just, the tension in there is crazy, and I'm sure you saw the email, too, that we just got, where they're going to start taking the OR nurses. And God bless whoever comes in making them floor nurses.
I don't know. I think it's going to be more of a supporting role. Not a starring role, a supporting role.
And ice chips, and I basically can't do anything else.
That's what we said. We're like, give us all your Foley's. We'll put in everybody's Foley's. We're the pros.
I did that with my eyes closed.
Yeah. Other than that,
without an IV, I've never done one in my life.
Well, they have the IV team, I think. I don't know. I think we'll be more of a support.
I like to think our shift is already a skeleton crew.
Right.
And then I
think the off shift, we mostly have to stay. Because we still
to inflate my own ego. We can do everything that comes through the doors. Maybe.
Right. We still get emergencies and urgent cases, and the emergencies we have to do for this. So I think probably the off shift will remain.
I hope
where
so,
we
man.
are.
Whoever gets me.
God help them.
It is hot. Like, wow.
God help them.
I'll be like, do you want me to, I don't know, fluff your pillow? Because I was like, I got no skills.
I can rub you back. I learned that in nursing
school. I can rub you back. I can feed you. And I can't give you meds. I can't look at your meds. I don't even know where to find the stuff.
I was like, I don't even know how to take orders. Like, I don't think people understand. Like, it's a completely different nursing skill set that we have. It's just completely different. I haven't done floor nursing in 20 years. And then I was saying to somebody the other day when they were saying
I never did floor nursing, ever.
I did it 20 years ago, and they literally wrote the orders in the charts, paper charts. That's the last time I did floor nursing, when they wrote on paper, like, what to do. And then you took it off the paper and put I'm like, I don't know how. I don't even understand. What do they do for orders? Like, because we don't do any of that. I'm like, okay, no, there's no paper charts anymore. So I have no idea.
There's a reason that Nicole works in the OR. There's a reason. I don't like to talk to patients. I like to talk to them, but they get on my nerves. Like, I want them asleep. I definitely don't want to deal with anybody's families. That's like,
well, there's no families,
right? But still, they're awake. It's it's a caveat because you can get, I don't know.
I really think we'll be a supporting role.
I can tell
we'll be the golfers. We'll be running for stuff. That's fine.
Well, you know what I'll do? I'll have them all listen to the podcast.
Yeah, good idea.
Look at this while I go figure out your orders. You get a couple episodes.
It'll take me about an episode and a half to get you Colace. So knock yourself out.
I'm not disimpacting anybody, right?
Nice enema every once in a while.
Oh my God, that would be a nightmare. Could you imagine?
I've done it. Not in 20 years, but I've done it.
Nope, I did my med surge. I can't even run an IV pump.
Well, they're completely different than when I ran an IV pump. I just can't. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
It's going to be interesting. And I know some of the nurses are panicking a little bit.
Well, and that's a stressful thing, is to come out of something you've done for 30 years to do something it's literally completely different. And vice versa. If people had to come to the OR, they would have no clue. It's just a completely different style of nursing,
So kudos to every single person who gets up every day and walks into it. Like, the people who are still working, I don't care what you're doing, whether you're healthcare or a grocery worker. If you have the nads to get up knowing you could face it every day, I give you credit, because, I'm not going to lie, I'm not too jazzed every time I know I have to go to work and I'm walking in, and in my mind, I'm exposed the moment I walk through the door. So I'm covered in alcohol. My shoes are losing color from all the bleach on them. But, it is what it is. It's what we got to do.
Yeah.
So what we were going to talk about today, we're going to give you some updated numbers about who's sick, and God bless, and the people who have not made it through. And my side gig that I've been doing during this COVID issue, I was a public health nurse on the side for about a year and a half, and the town called me up and asked me if I would help them out again. So I'm doing that on the side, and I got some information I think is helpful, because you're hearing people going to emergency rooms and they're not being officially tested, but the doctor's like, you have it and go home and do this, and they don't know what to do. And because it's not being officially tested and going through the Department of Health, it's not getting kicked back to the towns to notify them that they're having cases in their town. So you could have somebody who's infected who's just walking around thinking they're fine. So we're going to go over what isolation actually is versus what quarantine actually is, steps you should take. When the public health nurse calls you, you don't have to, but really need to give up your contact information. We'll go over all that and why we're doing what we're doing. Hopefully you can have those weapons with you and tell people around you if you hear of a friend or somebody who's like, oh yeah, my friend went to the ER and this is what they told them.
Yeah.
So, do you want to do the numbers first?
So I just took it's 2 numbers. Because they change it's like a literal constant change. And I was like, this is insane. And so I just took, as of today at 4 p.m., there's 304,826 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the U.S. That's huge. That's the biggest, of any of the numbers anybody's heard. This is the most cases anywhere in the world. And 7,616 deaths.
Okay.
I know New York the other day on Wednesday
I think they have like 4,000, right?
They have, several thousand. And the other day they had 501 deaths. Ooh. It's not.
Loading them up in a truck, and that's rough looking.
Yeah, the morgue truck. Yeah. Because you can't put all those people. I know people think it's probably awful, but your morgues in your hospital aren't huge. And you have other people dying as well. Like, they fill up fast, and then the funeral homes can't come and get them. And
she's a health agent, and so basically when this is going on, the health agents are asked, what places need to get shut down and this and that. And they're like, well, we're going to shut down the ice skating rink. And she's like, you can't, because that becomes a morgue. Yeah. And it never occurred to me. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, well, where do you think all those bodies are going to go if the funeral parlors can't handle? There's an ice skating rink, they can keep them cold. Never even occurred to me. I'm like, wow, I'll never look at an ice skating rink.
I know. Don't touch anything.
I'm skating in the morgue. I'm skating in the morgue.
It's awful.
Yeah, leave it to me to laugh at all this. Okay.
You have to, and that's the other thing. I know people think, you're cruel if you think it's not that you think it's funny. You have to laugh, or what would you do?
Well, I went into one of the rooms the other night, and I was I went out of my way to crack jokes and laugh and smile, and the resident was like, excuse me, the bear's coming back.
Yeah.
She's like, you're in an awful cheery mood. I said, you know what? You can feel the tension in this place. I said, I feel like it's a weight on my shoulders. And my job when I come in here is to get people maybe a little happier and make a smile on their face. I'm trying to lighten it up. So I'm going to go out of my way I talk about my free hamburger that I got at McDonald's. That was my big free healthcare workers getting sandwiches. But
can I get a fish fillet?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Get whatever you want.
Because I can't have the hamburger.
I mean, if anybody knows me, giving me free McDonald's, woof. I couldn't ask for anything more. Well, the only thing I could ask is free Dunks, which they haven't done that yet. And every time I go to work, the Dunks truck is gone. I don't know where he's going, but it's like, oh, Nicole's coming in. Let's ship out. So I really want the free Dunks.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go over isolation versus quarantine.
Okay.
So isolation is people who have been tested positive with symptoms. Well, tested positive, period, or you have symptoms. A quarantine is for somebody who it has no symptoms, but they've been around people who have been tested. So you have a positive test, which is somebody's actually swabbed you and tested you, or you have a clinical test where the doctor's evaluated you and he's like, you've got COVID, you need to go home. Okay. So you have to go home and you have to isolate, which means you have no contact with anybody for a minimum of 7 days. A minimum. So if on day 2, your symptoms are over, you still have to wait that 7 days. Yeah. After that 7 days, you have to be fever-free for 3 days with no aid. No ibuprofen, no Tylenol, no NyQuil, no nothing, no ice packs, no nothing. You are fever-free with no fever-reducing medications for 72 hours.
After the 7 days.
What was that?
After the 7 days.
Yes, but you could have that on day 3.
Yeah.
And you fever-free those 4 days.
Right, and that counts.
If that's the case, that 7th day you can come off.
Right.
But if it's day 7 and you still have a fever,
you can't.
You can't be off isolation until you've gone 3 days no fever.
Okay.
And you have to have a significant improvement of your symptoms. So if you have no fever, but you're still hacking up a lung and the cough hasn't gotten any better from the day 1, you can't come off isolation. All right.
My cousin right now, she's in North Carolina. She went to she's been sick. She called. They said, we cannot test you unless you go to the hospital. She's like, well, I'm not going to the hospital because everybody's sick there. I don't want to go to the hospital. They said, you probably have it. Stay in isolation. She's been in isolation for a week. She said she feels better, but her cough is still god awful. And she has 2 little kids and the husband at home. And she said, I'm staying another week in my room.
You have to.
So she's not coming out. She doesn't have a fever, I don't think, anymore. Just the cough, but she's in there for the week. Yeah. For another week. Yeah.
Because the cough is really how people are starting. Like, yes, we're going to take precautions. Yes, I've changed my mood. But some people also believe that just by looking at them, you're going to give them COVID. Right. And you have to be around somebody who is spewing a little bit. Like, just walking by somebody isn't going to give you COVID. So people do need to calm down a little bit about that. Yeah. You know? Okay. So now you get into the contacts. So part of the problem the public health nurses are having is that when you test positive or you are decided to have COVID, they don't want to give up their contacts. It's like they think the police are going to come and arrest them and drag them off to Bedlam and quarantine them. And that's not why. You're actually protecting your contacts by giving the information. Because the contacts need to know that they have been exposed to somebody who is positive and what to do if they start getting sick. They need to have the tools to help themselves. Right. And that's how you're going to stop the spread. Right. You're not protecting them. You're actually hurting them by not giving that information up. So if, God forbid, Laura came down with COVID and she and I were together 2 days ago, I'm considered a contact. Yeah. If I've been within 6 feet of her with no protective equipment on or anything. So, okay, I'm considered a contact. I then have to go into quarantine for 14 days. And the last day I have contact with her, so if I see her March 31st, we're out, we go shopping, I don't know what we're shopping for. We're going to get our free sandwiches at McDonald's. Yes. I see her on March 31st. My quarantine lasts till April 14th. And then you actually come off the following day. So it is the full day of the 14th day. So it's almost a 15-day quarantine. Okay. And that's for every person that the infected person has come in contact with up to 2 days before they showed symptoms.
Okay.
All right. So when somebody calls you and says, I need a list of who you've seen, you have to think 2 days before you started getting sick.
Right.
Household contacts are different because it's very hard not to be near the person who's isolated. So what's happening is children who can't, like say it's a single mother, she's got 3 kids. She has to wait till she is completely fine. And then your quarantine starts after they come off isolation.
So the mother comes off isolation on the 1st. The family is then on quarantine till the 15th.
Starting on the 2nd till the yes. So Laura's has COVID. She's isolated. She comes off isolation. She's fever-free for 3 days. She hasn't taken any vacations. Her cough's better. Her sneezing's better. Now her whole family goes into it. She may be able to leave, but her whole family's now quarantined for those 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. Whereas other people, that quarantine starts from the last contact with the person.
Right.
Sometimes what's happening is with these kids, the quarantine keeps happening every time they have contact with the kids, or with the mother. So the only way that would change is if you could move out of the home. Then their quarantine would start the day you have moved out.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the non-testing method for people to be cleared for COVID is the 3-day fever-free, no medications, and a significant improvement of their symptoms. Some healthcare workers, because they're in high demand and they need them back, they're testing them. So the testing method to clear yourself off of isolation is you have to have 2 negative tests, no less than 24 hours apart. And you have to, again, have no fever and no fever-reducing medications to help you get there. So the public health nurses are beyond overwhelmed.
I'm sure.
Because they're trying to find all these contacts. When they're given up, they're trying to notify them. They have to document. It's insane. The Department of Public Health for Massachusetts has a core of epidemiologists and students and nursing students who are being who are volunteering, God bless them, to come in and make a lot of these phone calls and help them to get this information. So there's quite a process of nursing across the board. Yeah. Nurses everywhere are really stepping up to the plate and coming out of retirement and coming out of per diems and just trying to help the best they can.
I like that. It's like I don't know if it's a meme or whatever it is on Facebook, but social media. But every time I see it, I'm like, exactly. Like, how would you feel if the Department of Health contacted you and said, okay, who were your contacts within the last year?
Yes.
And it's like, would you be proud of yourself or would you be embarrassed? That's how many people you were around.
Yes,
my
entire Corona party on Sunday, and seriously,
like I went to Home Depot and I went here and I went here and I went here. Like you want to be able to like, I ran once to Market Basket. You know what I mean? Like you don't want a list of people.
My mother, who is 80, had to go to BJ's. She had to go to BJ's to make a return.
No.
She's bored. Yeah, she did. She's bored. I said, Mom, you gotta stay home. Yeah. But I'm bored. I'm like, the whole world is bored. You think you're the only one? The whole world is bored. Like, you gotta stay home.
Tell her to make her Christmas cookies now. She won't have to do it in December.
Exactly. She's like, well, so what? I just gotta stay home? I'm like,
yes.
I said, she's like, well, nobody was in there. I said, did you breathe the air in BJ's? Did you touch the counter of the return? Did you talk to the woman? You were exposed. Oh, okay, fine. Because you can't tell my mother anything. Yeah. Okay, fine, I was exposed. I'm like, I'd love to say my father's concerned for her, but he's concerned for himself. He's like, she's going to bring it home to me, and then I'm dying. Like, Mommy's kind of right. You gotta stay home. I said, go drive in the car. You can drive all of the borders of Massachusetts, because they're not going to let you out of Massachusetts, but you can drive till you're out again.
I'm driving to New Hampshire Tuesday to pick something up, so hopefully I can. I'm not touching anybody. We're socially distant, but I'm like, I'll drive up and get it. Don't mail it. I'll just leave it on your front porch. It'll give me a good 2-hour thing to do.
Order for you at the liquor store?
Yeah, maybe she might have to.
I was just like, Mom, she's just not getting it. So then I was out yesterday. I took the kids out to the woods because I have to get out of the house with them. And my father calls. He's like, so I dropped something off at your house. I'm like, okay. He's like, I left it on the counter. I said, did you walk into my home? He's like,
my God.
Well, yeah, you weren't home. I said, I work in a hospital. Yeah. You have to consider my home infected.
Yes.
You're not allowed in my house
No.
until this is over. Like,
I know.
Is it that hard? Is it that hard?
They don't get it. My mother gets it. Like, well, we'll go walk to her house, or she'll walk, on her walk, she'll walk by here and stand at the gate, and we'll talk to her. And yesterday we went to Mike's parents and talked to them in the balcony. That's fine. You can do all that stuff, but you can't come in. And I was like, yesterday we were at his parents' house, and I was like, we have to go because I have to pee. Like, I have to pee, and like, you can't be there because I can't go in their house, So I'm like, all right, I gotta go. I have to get home.
Just don't look behind your bushes for a second. I'm gonna just pop a squat.
I was like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't go in, even for something like that. Like, you just can't. Like, in fact, I'm not, but I could be.
You don't know.
Right.
You don't know when you're gonna start coughing and sneezing. And I think what sobered me up about this, and what scared the shit out of me, is that one person's walking around with sniffles and a cough, and the other person is on a vent within a day and dying. Yeah. And they don't know why it does. Someone gets such mild symptoms, and somebody is on their and the thing is too, they're in the ICUs, but they're on their faces. I don't know if people realize this. They're on their faces, which is horrifying, but it's to help them breathe better. And I just read today that they're trying to actually do that before they're even vented now.
Right.
They think it might help, because I guess that's what they were doing in Italy. But I've never in my life, I've been in medicine like 30 years, I've never seen somebody face down on a bed, on a vent.
I have seen it a couple times, but it's in a severe trauma case that the person is,
right.
It's the last thing they're trying.
Yeah. And they're finding that putting these patients on ECMO, which is the lung bypass machine, isn't working.
Right, so far.
When they're getting sick, they're so sick, and it's so quick. It's like the flu of 1918. It's hitting fast and quick, and it's killing them quick.
Right.
So it scares me. And they're like, oh, it's blood type. Supposedly, blood type is supposed to be safe. And that's me, baby. One of the girls at work is like, I'm A negative. I'm like, you're fucked.
Mike and Jack are A. And I was like, sorry, me and Sam are probably okay.
Yeah, you're good. I'm good. My family's basically all O, because I think Brian's O positive and I'm O negative. So everybody in this house is O. Yeah. So it's just, it's scary. Yeah. It's scary. And I'm trying to come home and try to keep things as somewhat normal as possible at home. And if I cook one more dinner, I may kill myself.
Oh my God, I've never cooked so much in my life.
Oh my God.
Never cooked so much in my life. And Mike is like, well, you're not allowed near the kids. And I'm like, okay, well, all right.
I'm getting to my kids.
I'm there, and I've been in charge, so I haven't been in. Normally, when I'm in charge, I go into all the rooms, I check on it. Right. I'm calling in all the rooms. I'm not going in I would if they needed me, but we're just trying to stop the exposure of everybody. No extra people in the rooms. So I'm like, Mike, I haven't been in the rooms with anybody that's been sick. But you're in the hospital. It's dirty. You can't go near the kids. And they're like, yeah, watch this, and then they hugging kids. Like, he is not happy. But
apparently, because I wasn't allowed to come over tonight.
No, he is dead serious.
She's not coming over. You crazy?
He picked me up with a mask on his face from work the other night because they drove me in and picked me up, so I didn't have to walk. And I was like, are you serious? All of them had it on, and Jack goes.
And my family is the exact opposite. Yeah. Brian's like, come here and give me a kiss, baby.
No, not me. I have my bedroom to myself. I have my bed to myself. It's great.
Oh,
it's great.
Why don't you talk to Brian and tell him he needs to avoid
Tell
me.
Brian you need your own room, just in case.
Yep. He doesn't seem to care. I don't know. Yeah, I'm taking it. I'm cleansing when I come out of the hospital and bleaching when I get in the car. I cleanse before I get in the house. I even have a spray for my shoes to make sure that there's nothing on the shoes. And we change our clothes at work.
Right, we're not wearing our clothes home. So.
We're not wearing COVID clothes home. So I like COVID because it goes with every kind of COVID Christmas, COVID clothes, COVID this, COVID crisis. It rhymes with a lot.
Well, my kids keep saying, well, we're on coronation. And I'm like, you're not on vacation. They're like, not vacation, Mom, coronation. And I'm like, it's not vacation, it's over. I'm killing myself around the house. And they're like, we're on coronation. I'm like, I'm back at work. No one's on vacation.
There's still school going on. I don't think my kids get that. I was yelling at one of my kids tonight. I'm like, you have 2 paragraphs due tomorrow. What do you think? This isn't summer vacation.
Yeah.
Get your homework done.
It is. It's coronation, apparently, according to them. I can't.
Well, then I punctuated with, I'm not a teacher, and I don't want to be.
I've never wanted to be.
Teachers,
God bless them.
God bless you.
God
When
bless
the
them.
nurses are saying, you have a job I don't want,
Yep.
you know your job is something.
Yep. I never want that, ever.
Yeah. Interested in this, not liking it. And I've wrapped my head around they're probably going to be home till September. I've accepted it. I'm in the final phase of grief.
Yep.
Where I have come to acceptance that they're going to be around for 6 months.
At least they'll be busy, kind of, for a couple.
6 long months. Yeah, 6 months. Okay, so do we have anything else we want to cover? We want to talk about masks?
Wearing them out?
What?
Wearing them outside, you mean?
That. I want to talk about gloves. I'm tired of looking at discarded gloves all over the ground because it's making me sick to my stomach.
So I get, and I think it's probably like a good idea for people to wear their masks out. Like something over your face. It helps stop the spread of it. I completely am on board with that.
I think that masks, though, are more so you don't give it to somebody else.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Not
it's to stop this you
it's to
spreading
keep you from spewing more than you getting it.
Right.
I think people need to know that. It's so you don't spread it, not necessarily protecting you from getting it.
Because you have no idea if you have it or not. So just play like you do and put it on. Don't spread it. If everybody's doing that, no one's spreading it around. So
and when you're wearing them, don't touch the mask itself. When you put it on and off,
just the ear.
take it by the rings or the earpieces. Don't put your hands on the mask because if it's infected, you just touched it.
Right.
All right.
And
so
then you spread that
if you're wearing cloth ones, wash them every single day.
Yeah. They're cloth. Wash them. It's like a shirt. Put it in the washer. The gloves. My cousin. So I find this on a normal day pre-pandemic. Like if I go to a restaurant and they're wearing gloves, I'm like, Jesus Christ, this place is filthy. Because to me, it's dirty. Because you're touching people when they put gloves on, get this thing where they are now invincible. Yes. And nothing is touching them and everything is clean. And it is the exact opposite because you're never washing your hands because you have the gloves on and you're touching everything in the world because you think you're safe. It's dirtier. It's dirtier.
It's like, I mean, I go to the supermarket. I don't touch the meat. I use a plastic bag, but they're touching the meat. They're touching the chips. They're touching the this. They're touching the carrot.
They're touching their face, their hair, their shirt, their phone, their bag, their this, their wallet, their credit card. I'm like, you just touched everything you thought was dirty, and now you're touching all your stuff you're bringing home. Like, just wash your hands when you go home. Wash your hands.
Because we've kind of like, you give people power, but they have no knowledge.
Right.
They don't know. They're not realizing the amount of cross-contamination that they're doing with these gloves. Like you said, they're better off. Leave your gloves at home and not on the sidewalk, not on somebody's property, not just tossed in a parking lot because that's disgusting. Just wash your hands.
Yep.
Keep hand sanitizer in your car.
Yep.
I have hand sanitizer
I get in, pump, wipe my hands, drive home, go in, wash my hands. Yep.
You're going to find that's a lot cleaner.
Yes.
Than trying to wear these stupid gloves.
And
that's all I'm going to
I think because these people think they have this freedom with wearing these gloves that they do touch everything in goddamn sight. And instead, if you didn't have them on, you'd be not that you should be afraid to touch things, but you're more afraid, you're more timid to touching things.
Discriminatory about what you're
touching.
So
you're not going to touch everything you see in your 10 feet vicinity. Like, because with the gloves on, they just touch everything in the world. And then you see the gloves on the ground, which is disgusting. They're not even inside out. I'm like, how are you taking these gloves off? Like, they don't even know how to take them off.
No.
Like, you should take it from the outside, with your glove on the gloved hand, you take it from the outside, and then your clean hand, you put on the inside. They don't know that, though. All these gloves are the same way. None of them are turned inside out. I'm like, so you just took that glove off with your hand that's touched everything. Like, just go home and wash your hands.
We're giving people like power but no knowledge to go with it, so they don't know what they don't know. I mean, I went to Market Basket the other day, and there was a gentleman. He was wearing a firefighter's apparatus.
Wow.
Like the full face mask with the thing out the bottom.
Wow.
He had on full winter gloves. I was like, wow, dude. I gear up less for battle when I'm coming face to face with Corona. If I was making out with Corona, I probably wouldn't have that much gear on.
I mean, whatever makes you comfortable. It's just to me, the glove, I'm like, so now you're free to touch everything, and then you are literally touching everything. You're touching doorknobs, you're touching this. So you're taking whatever you just touched that was dirty and touching things other people have to touch with the dirtiness. Like, just try not to touch shit. So to me, don't wear gloves so you don't touch stuff.
Don't wear gloves. Don't put plastic bags on your head. You don't need to wrap your body. Don't suffocate yourself. Wrap. I mean, somebody in Stop and Shop was wrapping themselves in saran wrap a week ago. None of that stuff's going to help. Okay?
No, wash your clothes,
change your clothes when you go home, or wear old dirty clothes or whatever. But people need to just put your mask on and, you know, hope for the best.
Wash your hands. Just wash your hands. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands.
The number one thing you can do is wash your hands. Wash your hands. And, you know, if you're feeling nervous, wipe the surfaces in your house. Touch your doorknobs.
Yeah.
You know, wipe
you should always wipe your faucets, your doorknobs, anytime. Like, anytime anybody, I mean, you should wash them anyways, but, like, anytime anybody has anything in your house, like, I mean, I know people don't. But, you know, like, if your kid has a cold, you should be washing that stuff. That's what they're touching. If they have the stomach bug, that's, like, the main things you should be washing. So, I don't know. And then Mike, with the packages, he's like a nut. We do, like, the Amazon Fresh. So we get all these boxes, and then he's like, okay, so I'm putting this here. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So then I watch him, and we're OR nurses. So we're particularly, like, nuts. Like, we know when something is now contaminated. So he opens the box, and I'm watching him, and I'm just letting him flounder. And he opens it, so he's touched the outside of the box, and then he's touching the stuff on the inside. I'm like, so now that's dirty. And he's like, well, what did you want me to do? And then he puts something, like, on the counter. I'm like, now that's dirty. Like, you know, he's like, well, what did you want me to do? I'm like, don't touch anything on the inside. Either have me with clean hands get stuff from the inside, or dump it. Like, you know, let it, just dump it out if it's not fragile, you know, like, or, you know what I'm like, or open it, go wash your hands, take it out yourself, but you can't touch something that you just touched that you thought was dirty. And he's like, what? I'm like, oh my God, this is why.
Well, I'm laughing too, because now the floor nurses are all wearing cloth hats because they think they're cool and they're cute and this and that. Whereas I wear cloth hats all the time, and I won't wear my cloth hat.
No, you have to go wash it. Wear the disposable. But I think the floor nurses are having a hard time getting the disposable hats. Right. So I think that's why they're wearing the cloth. But I don't wear a cloth hat.
A box of the bouffants up to the floor. He goes, and I go up there, and they're all wearing the cloth hats with the bouffant over it. He's like, just wear the bouffants. You have them.
Why are you doing extra laundry?
Exactly. Like, it doesn't even make sense.
No.
He's like, well, they have to take their scrubs home and wash them anyway, which we don't. Which is like,
thank God.
I'd be more grossed out about having that stuff in my washing machine, but
I know these poor people, like, they're coming home and they're like changing and taking their clothes off in their garages and, you know, putting them right in the wash when they get home. And at least we don't have to, like, our clothes are our clothes that we wear in, so they're clean. But
did you get your personal thank you from Devin McCourty and Big Papi this morning?
This morning?
Yeah,
no, I'll have to check my email.
Maybe it was a couple of days ago because I just checked my email. But did you get?
I saw a message from Devin McCourty. Yeah. Oh, and Big Papi. That was a little while ago. Yeah.
I said so. I came down this morning. I'm like, I had a personal thank you from Devin McCourty and Big Papi. Brian's like, what? I'm like, yeah. And I even got a signing to by Adam Sandler. I just grouped myself up in his family of healthcare workers to make it special.
Well, the other night, this has nothing to do with that, but I came downstairs and I was like, don't be jealous that I just worked out with Julian Edelman, but I just worked out with Julian Edelman. They're like, I'm like, he did not, I mean, he was alive, but I worked out with Julian Edelman.
But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what's going to happen when this is all over too? Those guys are all going to show up where we work
during the day shift. Yeah. At like 10 a.m. We won't see them.
Yeah.
Could you come to an off shift, please?
Listen, if the weird chance you guys are listening to this podcast, come in around 4:00, all right? Cover the day shift or the evening shift too. And you need to pop in on nights as well.
Yeah, that's not right. Yeah. Like some of you come during the day and some of you come during the evening.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Then the cute ones at night. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, they seem... Yeah.
What was that? You're blocking out on me.
No, I just... Hello? They like the cute ones are usually the wild ones, so they like to be up at night. So
they like the night shift. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right, so I think what we're gonna do is this episode is actually gonna come out on Monday because we feel we should just give you a COVID update because we're trying to be responsible nurses.
Trying.
And our scheduled episode is going to come out on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get another double whammy this week because we're in quarantine. You might get an episode every day by the time we're done with this.
Well, it seems to be, we're getting on that peak, so we might be a little tired to do one every day from working.
Yeah, well, we'll just talk to each other and then record it and
Yeah.
be like, hey, what do you guys think? We're kind of thinking about, can you hear me? Because it just went poor connection.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right.
What?
All right, because it's totally cut out. There you go.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, it's like not connecting at all. I'm wondering if I should move around the house. You might have to edit this out all, Mike, I think. Are you any better there?
I can hear you.
No. All right, if you can hear me, then I'm just going to keep going.
I can hear you.
You're just not doing that great.
Okay.
What was I going to say? So Saturday we're thinking of maybe doing a Zoom kind of thing where if you listen and you want to do like a Q&A with us, we'll all do like a little Zoom conference that Mike's going to have to figure out because I can't even figure out how to work my iPad.
I'll just show up.
What was that?
I'll just show up. I have no idea. Don't even ask.
So we'll do the Zoom and you guys can all Zoom in if you're interested. We're thinking of doing it this Saturday. We'll put it out on social media and I'm sure you're all home and bored and maybe we'd get to meet some of our listeners who we don't know, which would be great.
Yeah.
And do a little Q&A just because I think we're all about to lose our minds.
Yeah, just
only talking with shared DNA with us.
Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, something So, if you're listening on tomorrow, just get some questions together. Nothing too hard because I can't think that hard.
Let us know if you're interested in it.
Yeah, and let us know if you'd be willing to do a little Zoom conference with us. And we'll send out the information, and it'll be fun. We'll all have a drink together, and we'll get to meet some new people.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's it, huh?
I think so. Just wash your hands. Wear a mask when you're out in public.
Don't throw your gloves in a parking lot.
Do not throw. And even if you wear gloves, still pretend you don't have them on. So you wash and don't touch everything in sight.
And I'm still going to ask for reviews because that's the kind of girl I am during the middle of a crisis. If you get reviews, throw them at us because I'd love some. Let us know you're listening.
Yeah. We're working on some, like a very small number of masks.
Right. That
available.
Will have a little scissors and scrubs
like
on
a little
them.
Cloth mask.
And we'll figure out how those are going to go to somebody when we get them. So you'll hear more about that later in the week. Maybe before Saturday. If not, we'll talk about it on Saturday. Maybe
hopefully
if you Zoom with us, you get a mask.
If they let me in New Hampshire, it'll be before Saturday. I don't know if I can cross the border.
It'll be like bootlegging days. Shipping the booze across the border. There's going to be speakeasies popping up soon. You watch.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. Come in without a mask.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it.
All right, guys. I hope you're all staying safe. Yeah. Stay home. Stay 6 feet away. Mm-hmm. Don't become alcoholics. Don't put on 50 pounds. And we will hopefully maybe talk to some of you next Saturday. Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Stay safe. Bye.
Like, subscribe, rate, and review the Scissors and Scrubs podcast on whatever podcast app you listen to us on. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Scissors and Scrubs. And email us any of your stories or thoughts to scissorsandscrubs@gmail.com.